just what was it like to sit? Oh, what was it like to sit and watch that? TV did catch a grimace of yours at one point. Just kind of what's going through your mind as you're watching the season and you not being able to do anything about it.
It's tough, man. Like that's a first for me. Yeah, obviously every season ends in some way, shape, or form. You know, we've had 4 years where it's ended great for us, and you know the times you leave it all out on the floor and give whatever you have to try to either make the playoffs or keep your season alive or whatever it is, and sit on the sidelines. It's weird. You wish you were out there to be able to do something about it. But it just wasn't in the cards this year. And we gave a great effort since February to give ourselves a chance. And we've been up here talking about it since then, and every game since. Just all we wanted was a chance, and to finish the year like we did, and to sneak in the playoffs, win that first round. Like, there's a lot to be proud of for sure, considering where we were, but definitely disappointed and. Frankly, just sad that I wasn't out there able to play. So we have hopefully a bright future in terms of coming back next year and trying again.
Steph, in the interest of off-season torture and what could have been, how close would you say you were to playing?
Everything was kind of aligned for Game 6. I had some testing to do, and who knows how that would have went because I hadn't gone live since Game 1, and first time dealing with this injury, I was pretty optimistic, but there were a couple more check points to get through, but it's a great what if.
What's your summer look like as far as how restful do you want it to be?
We got 4 months. I don't have any Olympics, and it's going to be just about rebuilding, getting rest, like you said, getting away from the game for a little bit, and then rebuilding everything for, another great run. So I'm going to take full advantage of the offseason, knowing I've been playing a lot of basketball for the last year, and, a lot left in the tank to prepare for, so I'm excited about it.
Do you view this as like a 2-year window? I mean, you have 2 years left on your contract. Is that how you're viewing it?
Yes, but also I'm just looking forward to next year. Like, as this league reminds you, you see teams that are still alive, you see the injuries that have happened, unfortunately, and nothing is, guaranteed in terms of you being competitive or being a contender. So, yeah, our contracts are all me, Draymond, Steve, Jimmy, all 2 years, and we want this ride to last as long as possible, but it's just about what does this team need for next year, answering those questions over the summer, everybody preparing themselves individually to get through another 82-game season, hopefully with a little bit more of a little comfort room down the stretch where we don't have to have a 2-month gauntlet just to make the playoffs. So that's all we're really focused on right now. And I'm excited about it because there's clarity, although there are a lot of decisions that need to be made over the summer.
Steph, you've said a couple times during this postseason, if you told me in January, we'd take it, of where you are. Does knowing where you were when it felt kind of hopeless and a little bit lost, does that ease the feeling of this kind of gut punch?
Not right now, no, but it'll give us optimism coming into next year. September rolls around, and there's 29 teams that ended their year disappointed in some way, shape, or form, who are excited about making a charge like we want to be as confident as possible coming into next year. And I think that window where we're 20, whatever our record was down the stretch, that meant something. That was real. When I got hurt in Game 1, obviously that changed a lot, but we have a lot to be, again, proud of and a lot to build off of for next year. So we got to maintain that optimism.
Steph, the way you guys were playing coming out of that Game 7 and then in that Game 1, you were playing well. Everybody was playing well. Even when you went down, the rest of the team still won that game. Do you wonder how far you guys could have gone had you been able to stay healthy? I think Steve said that he had no doubt in his mind that you guys had a shot. You guys could have gone to all the way.
You obviously have that mindset, and that's a story you're going to tell yourself when you lay your head out on the pillow every night for the next couple of weeks, until whoever wins the championship, because that's the belief that we did have. But again, this league is hard to win. You have to have things go your way. I know we mentioned, like, we've been on the other side of it where, guys have missed for whatever reason, teams that we played against, and that's part of winning at the highest level. You have to have health, you have to have good fortune, you have to have ball bounce your way down the stretch in certain games. Like, that's why people watch every night, because it's unpredictable, and it's why there's such highs and lows emotionally, because of how fragile winning really is. So, yeah, disappointed for sure. Will imagine and believe that we could have won everything, had we been healthy, but you move on.
Steph, you guys' ages are obviously a talking point, but what makes you most confident in you, Draymond, and Jimmy being the right core for this team moving forward?
I think just you look at the sample size of the last 2 months, and even the Houston series, when we had our mind focused on a goal, like we had enough to accomplish it and get to a point where we were playing pretty high level basketball. Does that mean we can win a championship? We hope so. And that's really all you want is a fighter's chance. Like, you look at the league right now, I know there's a lot of youth taking over, but you were one of the last 8 teams that realistically had a shot. And if you can run that back, make some tweaks that can help our overall, roster. Obviously, you had to get through an 82-game season, like I said, and we want to be, in a position where you're not chasing. But I feel like we had enough that we showed, we could be that team. That's all you really want.
You mentioned the tweaks. What do you think this roster needs?
I don't know. I'll think about that over the summer. It's still fresh. I know that's the best question you get asked right after the season. And it's also, tricky because I love every guy in that locker room. I love the commitment to our mission. I love the vibe, the energy, the chemistry, the camaraderie. I know there's a lot of turnover and change every year in every locker room, and you hate to see guys go and whatnot. But every team has to get better, and they have to address that. And I think from Joe to Mike, Steve, our veteran leaders, like we'll all have those conversations and try to answer those questions the best that we all can, and hopefully make moves that make our team better. That's what the name of the game is.
Kuminga is the player whose future is probably most uncertain with restricted free agency. What's your big picture view of his 4 years here and his potential future or non-future here?
I think he's grown a lot. He's been dealt a very tough hand, to be honest. Like, came in when we started 18 and whatever, 2 that year, and he had some moments, but getting in the playoffs didn't really have an opportunity, and we win a championship, and then you run it back, and he's handled his business in terms of just getting better and just trying to focus on what it means to become a better version of himself in the way that he plays, and the fact that he's had playing time in Manhattan and been in rotation in Manhattan, like that's tough for any player, let alone a young guy who's trying to figure it out in the league. So I commend him on just staying ready, seeing what he did the last couple of games. That's not easy to do, to not know if your button's gonna be called or your number's gonna be called, and then go out there and perform. So I'm proud of the way that he's handled it. I hope the future is bright for him, whether it's here, whether it's wherever, and knowing that he's a guy in this league that can continue to climb that ladder on his own pace. So I think he's gone through a lot that most people haven't in 4 years, and seen a lot. So hopefully he's better because of it.
It's the version of the off-season question. I'll try to ask it a little more general. But like last off-season, a ton of stuff happened, and you guys went big game hunting. We know Paul George, Markkanen, you lose Clay. How different do you feel going into this? I mean, do you feel like you could be big game hunting, or is it not as necessary given what you did, getting Jimmy going 24 and 8, well, all those things? Is it a marked difference from, say, last offseason going into this one?
Yeah, like I said, there's a little bit more clarity on what we have. Jimmy being, a big part of that. There are obviously guys in this league, if for whatever reason come available, every team's going to call. It's just how it works, whether stuff happens or not. More times than not, it doesn't. But we have clarity on what we have in terms of our core and the experience. But we do we need to probably get a little bit bigger across the board. Struggle shooting at times. Like what those can be addressed, but how and how you get to that, I think, is what Mike's gonna have to figure out, and we got confidence that he can do it. So I like the vibe that we have a little bit more clarity and a little bit more understanding of what me, Jimmy, Draymond have been able to do this last 3 months, and try to make it try to make a few tweaks and make it as good as possible.
Steph, you're 37. Did you know that?
I've heard it a couple times
Yeah.
this year.
When you're outside of work, that's a young man's age. When you're at work, you get those reminders that you are one of the oldest guys in the league. How are you feeling about that difference outside of work, inside of work, and your age being mentioned in pretty much every story about you from here on out?
One, it's an ultimate compliment because it's part of the level that you're playing at, and oh, he's still doing it at this age. Two, it's a reminder of your basketball mortality and appreciating every moment that you have. That's why the way this ended was as emotional as it was. Not being able to play in those big games because you don't know how many more opportunities you will have. But I think the difference on and off the court, seeing my family and seeing my kids grow and the opportunities off the court, it allows me to just have fun and appreciate this chapter of my life as much as possible, knowing that hopefully the next chapter is as great, but this one, I'm trying to get every, bit of fun and experience and, squeeze as much juice out of this as possible. So it's weird to, even you get it from your teammates even. I remember watching you in such and such game when I was 7. It's, none of that stuff it is weird. It's hard to kind of digest it, but it just allows me to make sure I'm having as much fun as possible doing what I love to do and how long I've been able to do it. And this last chapter of my career, getting everything I can out of it.
Two more, because then we have Draymond ready to come in.
Stephen, looking back at these last 3 months and since Jimmy got here, was it above and beyond maybe what you expected in terms of how seamless it was, or about what you thought could be when he joined you guys? It seemed like everything just clicked immediately, and that says something about the whole group, doesn't it?
Absolutely. There's a lot of chatter of whether that was the right trade or not when it happened, and we all know when we were in Utah and the trade went down, we were emotional in that period because we saw 3 of our guys who we love, Wiggs, being a part of our championship run, having to go. But from the first game in Chicago to last night, it was a seamless fit. Me and him complimented each other so well. He gave us so much belief that we could, beat anybody any given night and make a legitimate run at climbing up the standings. And even having some playoff, experience to look forward to. So I think it was a success. And now you have to build off of that with a full season, hopefully, in front of us. So I'm excited about it.
Steph, to feed off some of those off-season plans, another basketball team is here tomorrow night, the Valkyries. Do you have a plan to be an ambassador, to be there, to kind of be involved with that team this offseason?
I'm going to be a fan. Yeah, I'm going to be here as many games as possible. It's great for the entire Bay, the inaugural season. I know the atmosphere is pretty cool when they had the preseason game here. So I'm excited to watch them play and wish them nothing but success. And, it's going to be really cool to be here opening night when they get to kind of plant their flag with what Valkyrie basketball means around here. So I'm pretty excited to watch it.